Hey guys, you're really welcome to today's practice. So my name is Michael Ryan, and really our practice is about not only working with the physical body, and so often I suppose in our modern world we think of yoga as primarily a physical practice. And one way it was described to me when I began to practice, which really helped for me, was that yoga is a spiritual practice with a physical dimension. And it's the idea that we're not only working on the physical body, but quite often through a lot of the practices, we're working through the physical body. So the physical work, the physical movements, the asanas, these positions that we move into, are a way of supporting and opening the physical body, so that then becomes a conduit or a way in which we then tap into a deeper sense of well-being. So we exist in this physical experience, which is not disconnected from the emotional experience, from the psychological experience, from the energetic experience, and then what we call the causal experience, which is our capacity to feel the deep connection between us and all things. It's our capacity to know that we are woven in this tapestry, that we are a thread in this tapestry of life. And that's something that many of us don't really experience a lot of the time, and our society is very tilted toward kind of disconnection, distraction, which is perfect in the sense that part of what each of us is doing with our lives is, in a sense, disconnecting in order to remember to reconnect. You know, it's like you can't really experience summer until you've experienced winter. You know, you can't appreciate. So a lot of what we do in this relative experience is learn through relationship. Summer's relationship to winter, a sense of feeling well in relation to a sense of not feeling well. And each of those experiences and each of those relationships then teaches us. And this is what the practice of yoga is. It's playing with these qualities. You know, we move our body, we access and get into places, we feel discomfort, we connect to our breath. All of this practice, a way of dropping into something deeper within ourselves. So the idea of all those different bodies, physical, mental, emotional, psychological, all of these different parts of ourselves coming back together with a synchronicity or with a deeper quality of how they fit together, like Lego pieces that fit together to create a picture. And a lot of the time we're only aware of or connected to certain parts, where we have places, parts of ourselves that are wounded, that are protected, that are shut off, cut down, locked away. And our practice is, in a sense, an invitation. Never an obligation, but an invitation to ourselves to come back to this greater sense of what we are. The whole practice works on the premise that we are full, that we are complete. If you really sit with that, you really contemplate that, I am full, I am complete, there's nothing I need. And of course you can go into the whole kind of empirical, logical, rational side, which will find holes and faults in that. But in a deeper sense, there's nothing I need, I'm full. And what you will possibly meet is the places in you that will talk about, articulate, feel not full. We all carry those. Eckhart Tolle talks about it as the pain body, or sometimes the ego. This is the part of the experience of being human that is never satisfied, that always is looking for more. And that's perfect. It's not that that needs to go away or needs to be punished or needs to be wrong. It's part of the experience, part of the deal. But there's something else there too. There is a voice that knows this fullness, that is content, that knows deep silence, that knows peace. That's there too. That's intrinsic to what we are. That can never be taken away, but it can surely not be experienced, not be felt, not be tuned into. And a lot of the way our society is tilted is toward the kind of noisier part that's always looking for more, always looking outside for more, you know. We see a lot of it in this pandemic, you know, with the corona thing going on, how easily it feeds into the fear part of us, the part that is fearful. You know, we all have that part. So our practice is an invitation to meet that place and to explore if we can work more skillfully with it. Can we speak to this place? Can we hold this place? And if we're not connected to the part of us or aware of the part of us or open to the possibility of the part of us that is full, then holding the fear part of us, the discontent part, the uncomfortable part, the hidden part, the wounded part, becomes a very impossible task. So this is the intention behind our practice. So I want you to sit comfortably and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, feel into your foundation. Feel into the ground beneath you. Tune into that space. Bring your awareness there. So the ground beneath you in this moment, whatever you're sitting on, one perspective you could take is that it's holding you. It's literally in this moment there to support you. Something is holding you. Something's got you. And really, isn't this the truth in every moment? Whether you're standing, sitting, lying, your physical structure is supported always. Unless you're floating in the air, it's always supported by something solid, by the earth. Or an extension of the earth, be it a chair, be it a bed, be it whatever. But what about that as a perspective? And you're teaching your nervous system to remember about this deeper connection, even very simply in the physical terms, the practical physical terms of, all right, something solid is there holding me up. And as our nervous system begins to remember this, align to this, feel this, it'll begin to support that part of us, that part of the nervous system that is accessible to this idea of I'm full. Because when we don't feel supported, when we don't feel part of something, when we don't feel safe, then that part of the nervous system that really plays that protection, fear-based story is firing on all cylinders. So feel the earth beneath you. Just notice it. Feel the part of you that's literally connected to the floor, to the earth. One part of us will find this boring, will be distracted or want to be distracted. But another part, you might need to come back and come back and come back to notice these places. In one sense, there's nothing exciting here or stimulating here. It's just that simple noticing, simple awareness. Now, from that place of the foundation, could you take a few deeper breaths, shrug a little in the shoulders, feel the ribs moving? The idea of the torso, the spine, the rib cage getting fuller, getting longer. So I want you to sit up, not forcing, not straining, not becoming rigid, but exploring a little bit of fullness. Let your belly drop, let it relax. So softening the belly. And then as the ribs expand and the shoulders float on that fullness, the abdomen will naturally lengthen, become stronger, not by getting small and tight, but actually by opening and lengthening. Close your eyes. We're going to bring the hands together in front of the heart to begin our practice. So let's create a clear intention for our practice. And the truth is that everything we do has intention behind it, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Everything we do. We eat some food, the intention is to not feel hungry. We go to the toilet, there's an intention there. A lot of stuff is just automatic. We don't think about it. We don't think about the intention. But intention is what creates everything. Anything that's ever been made by anybody has begun with an intention, with a thought, with an idea. So thoughts have a powerful influence. What's the intention for your practice? If you believed your practice could support you in some way, what would you like it to do? How would you like it to support you? May my practice awaken me to a deeper sense of I am full. May I feel more at ease. May my body be a more comfortable place to inhabit. May I look into the world and see what is beautiful. May I remember that I am worthy. May I let go of this sense of fear. May I let go of what is holding me back. What's your little prayer, your little intention, or your big intention? Say it to yourself. And if this feels strange or odd, and it probably will because it's not something we do very often. So when we're trying something new or something different, it is uncomfortable. It is a bit strange. Even the idea of opening to this as a possibility. And then we're going to say 3 ohms together. Now, if you don't want to say it out loud, say it internally. No big deal. Take a deep breath. For a moment we bow our heads toward the heart. And then we release the hands, lift the chin, open the eyes. Great, okay. So we're going to come onto our hands and our knees to begin to move. And a lot of what we're trying to achieve through the movement is a more supple, open experience in the body, a stronger experience in the body. But then on an energetic level, we're opening channels of energy. Places where we get blocked and stuck. And when these begin to open up, they talk about the nadis in Sanskrit, these channels of energy. When they begin to open up, they just support this greater sense of well-being, this greater sense of being comfortable in our own skin, of being able to access these, let's say, these higher qualities within ourselves. Yeah, to be able to see the world with potential possibility. Okay, hands and knees. So take your time. When you get there, close the eyes. Okay. So when you get there, close the eyes. Begin to let the hips sway. What we're going to do in the beginning is just move really easily and fluidly. Shoulders shrug, hips sway. None of this is forced or strained. It's all really comfortable. Explore a little, let the body move in whatever way it's asking to move in. Anywhere that feels tight, and quite often as you come into this position, some of the areas of the back will tighten up. Breathe into them. Can the breath allow you to begin to bring space into contraction, light into darkness? Spread the fingers, Bring more weight to the base of the fingers. You know those knuckles at the bottom of your fingers? Can you kind of press down through those guys? Even a little gripping action through the fingers and thumbs. Okay, without moving, push the knees apart, pull the hands toward each other. Just build a little bit of resistance, then relax it all, and then do it again. Pull the hands toward each other, press the knees apart. Now you're not moving, you're just engaging, and relax. One more time, pull the hands in, press the knees apart. Now anywhere in the back's tight, breathe into it. So you can fill it up with the breath. Expand it, little shrugging in the shoulders. Lift your neck and your head. Or I should say, let the neck lift the head. Notice if you've moved your head without moving your neck. Breathe. Without changing anything, pull your hands backwards toward your legs. See if you notice a sense of the belly getting stronger or longer. Just a few breaths with whatever is going on for you. Wherever you notice the most tightness or resistance in the body, breathe into those spaces. Breathe 3. Breathe 2. I want you to begin to soften a little and walk your arms toward the left, just slowly arcing to the left. What I want you to not do is move your hips. I want you to see, can you keep the hips steady? One way of helping that without moving, push the knees apart again. Stick the bum up so you feel there's an arch in the back. And you're just walking the hands to the left to the point where you're connecting to tightness or contraction, be it on the stretching or the lengthening of the right side, or even anywhere on the left side. If you feel something uncomfortable, pause and breathe into what you're meeting. Long, deep breaths. Long, deep breaths. And we come back to center. Take a deep, expanding breath. Press the knees away from each other. Walk the arms in the other direction. So, it's not about how far you can get. It's really noticing the feelings, the sensations in the body. We're learning to speak the language of our body. And really this is done at quite an intuitive level. So although the body speaks quite often through discomfort and through pain, through strong sensation, there's ways of tuning into the body that gives us information, that teaches us. Of course, the body is how we are connected to this world. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. We'll come back through center. Little sway, little shrug. Nice and simple, lower back relaxed. Breathe into the back ribs, lift the neck again. Notice if you've sunk or dropped or collapsed. We all have a lot of habits in the body. Push the knees apart. Fill the ribs up again. Let's go to the first side one more time. Walk the arms toward the left. Slow and steady. Again, wherever the tightest spaces are, that's where the awareness is. That's what you're breathing into. Stay with the breath. Inhale and exhale. Perfect. We'll come back through center. Take your time. Fill the ribs up again. Press the knees apart. Walk the arms in the other direction. Almost the idea of enjoying what you're meeting. You know, in terms of discomfort in the body or tightness in the body. So often when we experience it, there's a kind of an aversion, a shutdown, a tightening. What if it could be the opposite? So as you meet something that feels uncomfortable, it's knowing that you're working through it. Breathe into it. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. We're going to come back through center. Okay. Little sway, little shrug, almost as a way of letting go of the last pose. And then let's take the right arm and let's slide the right hand over to the left. So we're going to come down onto the right shoulder and the side of the head. Now, if you find they don't go all the way to the floor, that's perfect. Doesn't make any difference. But that right hand is stretching over toward the left. So you're noticing a broadening in the back, a twisting around maybe the ribs or the lower back. Wherever the most intense feeling is where the breath is going. Breathe. Breathe 3. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. Beautiful. Come on up. Little sway, little shrug. Second side. Slide the left arm over to the right. Come down onto the shoulder, the side of the head. Quite often the two sides will feel different. Where you notice the tension is where you're breathing. Breathe 3. Breathe 2. Perfect. Breathe 1. Come down onto your forearms as you come back to the center. Interlace the fingers, keep the elbows under the shoulders, right under the shoulders. So the gaze is toward the hands, toward the wrists. Now, very simple here again. Hips sway a little, lower back relaxes, belly relaxes. Deeper breath into the ribs. So for most of us, the rib cage is used to being overly contracted. When something is heavily contracted, it becomes dense, it becomes tight, and it becomes heavy. So as you take deep breaths into the ribs, you're beginning to dissolve that pattern of continually over-tightening. So every time you take a deep breath, breathe into the back of the ribs, breathe into the sides, breathe into wherever you notice that dense feeling. Breathe into it. Almost, if you could imagine you were filling a balloon up. You know, you blow in a little and the balloon expands, and then you hold that fullness as you breathe again and expand a little bit more. And how full can you be? But continue to breathe if you can. Press the forearms down. The neck is lifted. So not so much cranking the head up, but lifting the neck up. Even here, as you're working through the ribs and the shoulders, could you have a little shrugging in the shoulders? Just a way of kind of loosening up, opening up, expanding. Again, without moving, press the knees away from each other as you try to stick the bum up. Now, as you stick the bum up, your thigh bone gets a little deeper in your hip. Your sacrum begins to tilt, the top of the sacrum dropping down, and that creates the arching in the lower back. And as before, any tightness, breathe into it. So we're always looking for balance. Never too much in one direction. The body is continually moving in different directions simultaneously. Think of the curves of your spine. Keep the heart open. Keep the neck lifted. Now, one more thing, without moving anything, pull the forearms backwards toward the legs. Notice that stretch in the belly. Breathe into the tightness. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Softening, release the hands, come back up onto the hands. And again, as before, you let things sway and shrug and move a little. We want freedom in our bodies. We want mobility and lightness. This is the quality of the feminine in the body. And we also want strength, stability. It's the quality of the masculine in the body. And all of us, in some sense, are working toward a balance of these qualities. Although, of course, in terms of the psyche, we may be more aligned with one or the other. But we can still work toward balance, and how these two aspects of our nature really are designed to complement and work together. And of course we're finding the balance not only in our bodies but in our world as well at the moment, more so than ever. Fill the ribs, press the earth away, lift the neck. Okay, very simple. Left knee tilts out to the left. Now you're trying to let the belly relax, you're trying to maintain the arch in the back. Ribs are trying to stay full, all that stuff we've worked with already. And then bring that down. Second side, right knee out to the right, bring it down. Left knee out to the left. Nice and simple. Try to let the belly stay relaxed as you're working here. Maintaining the arch in the back. So the work is somewhat isolated to the pelvis. And the alignment in the pelvis is crucial to the hips beginning to open up, become more supple, and become stronger. Okay, left knee goes out to the left, pause. Make circles with the left knee. Try again to not overwork the belly. Hands are working, base of the fingers pressing down. Move that knee in the other direction. Feel the work in the hip, in the glute. They'll get tired because they're not used to working this way. Second side, right knee out to the right, begin to make circles. Other direction. Perfect. Bring it back to the floor. Come up onto the onto the knees. So hands are up. Close the eyes. Belly relaxed. Notice your breath. Very simple. As little work as you can here. Part of the paradox of the practice and life in many respects is that, of course we're moving the body and we're striving and we're moving forward and we're shifting and we're changing. But there's also this idea that we're perfect as we are, that we don't need to do anything. And both of those are true and seem like opposites, and yet actually they work together beautifully. They're designed to fit together, and when they balance, it changes how we move forward. It changes how we do what we do in our lives. That it creates and gives a sense of foundation or background to any endeavor we might undertake in our lives. Okay, open the eyes. Let's take the left foot forward. Take the ankle slightly forward of the knee. Spread the toes on the 2 feet. Now, the back toenails are on the floor, so the back toe is pointing away from you. And I want you to spread the toes, and as you spread the toes, I want you to see, could you tilt the little toe, that right little toe, toward the right? And that creates a lengthening of the inner ankle. So we want that to be long and strong. You're pressing the toenails of the back foot down, the top of the back foot down, and at the same time you're gripping with the front toes. So you're working the feet. That'll help the back knee. If you need to pad the back knee with something, please feel free to do that. Take the hands to the ribs, thumbs back, fingers forward. Now breathe out into the hands so the ribs fill. And then as you lift the ribs, or as you fill the ribs, lift them up, pull them up. Now, I want you to see, can you keep the fullness, can you keep the lift, and let the hips and front knee melt forward to whatever feels available. You can pause anywhere you feel it's appropriate. Keep the back foot active. Breathe into what you're meeting. So anywhere you have the most intensity, wherever it is, imagine you could breathe right into that space. Breathe 5. Breathe 4. 3, 2, 1. We'll bring the hips back. Perfect. Left leg back, right leg forward, same positioning. Take your time in working into the the 2 feet, particularly the back foot. So our habit is the front of the body overworks. It's like it represents the part of the world that we see, or the part of ourselves that we see. The back represents the unseen nature, the unseen aspect of ourselves. So for most of us, because again, our society is such an empirical, logical, rational, relative thing, that the unseen tends to be a trickier place for us to stay connected to. And really the unseen aspect of life holds the deepest meaning for us. It's where our sense of real contentment lies, in knowing this space. The other represents the fleeting nature of life, the part that is continually shifting and changing, and it's a beautiful aspect at times, but our roots are in the unseen. Work into the back foot, anchor into the back foot. Spread the toes, work the foot, press it down. Work the front foot, hold the ribs, fill and lift the ribs. Buoyancy, fullness in the upper body as you sink and let the pelvis move forward. Again, stop wherever you feel is appropriate. Breathe into what you're meeting. There's no rush. You don't have to get anywhere. Just be where you are. And breathe 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Okay, let's come on back. Let's release. Step the leg back, close the eyes, relax the belly. Be with your breath. Beautiful, okay. So taking those moments of dropping into the breath, of pausing, they're an important, in a sense, skill to develop for ourselves. And I meet a lot of people, and particularly again, it's a very predominantly Western thing in which we kind of feel like we need to be busy. I can't sit still, I can't. Really, part of it is because we're just not practiced at it. That we meet so much agitation in our system, when we do begin to quieten down, it's almost unbearable. So to just have those little bite-sized moments of just pausing and noticing, even if it was 3-4 breaths, just to pause and notice, and you'll build that muscle that is able to hold you in those stiller moments. And it allows us to connect to something that all of us are really invited to connect to within ourselves. There is part of us, part of our nature that is still. Of course, there's part that's moving, but there is part that's still, and it's the relationship between those two qualities. Again, it's that idea of masculine, feminine, day, night, the way they work together and balance each other. Okay, let's take the left foot forward again. Okay, same position with the left foot slightly forward, ankle forward of knee. Work into the feet, just feel into the foundation. Same thing we did at the very beginning when we were sitting, this idea of you feel how you're connected to the earth. The feet anchor into the floor, almost as if you think of the earth, that quality of what we sometimes call earth energy, muscle energy. You know, there's a solidity to it. As the feet press down, they're kind of mimicking that. They're anchoring, they're creating that sense of safety in your system. Let the hips sink forward. Let's keep the left hand on the knee. Let's bring the right lightly first down to the floor. Just the fingertips, really light. Slide a little further to the right. Put the whole hand down. Okay, as you do that, the feet are active. Let's play with this. See where we get to. Please don't force or strain. Can you lift the back knee up? And if the answer is no, stay where you are. Just a few breaths here. The front of your chest, could you turn a little bit more toward the front leg? Could you take the top arm up to the sky? Now you're looking forward rather than looking up. And then turn the palm to face forward and extend that top arm over your head. Even lean the head back a little and you can look up at the hand. Breathe 3, breathe 2, breathe 1. Okay, bring the back knee down, bring the top hand down. One more thing here. Can you lift the back foot Can you extend that left arm backward toward it? Now, maybe they connect, maybe they don't. It doesn't matter. A lot of you are going to get a cramp straight away in your hamstring. Let it relax and pause. There's no rush. These are muscles that are not used to working in these ways, and cramping is the way of the muscle telling you that. Take your time. Breathe. Breathe. There's no rush. You are wherever you are. Breathe. If you've got the foot, you're pressing it back against the hand. You're pushing, kicking it back. Breathe into the ribs as if the heart could lengthen forward, the throat could open up a little. And if you can turn a little to the sky, to the side, brilliant. If not, brilliant. Breathe for 5. Wherever the tightness is, that's the attention, the breath. Breathe 4. Stay with it. Breathe 3. 2. And then we release. And we come back. And we'll step the front leg back. We're up on the knees. We close the eyes. Notice your breath. Be close to your breath. Okay, opening the eyes. Right leg forward. Take your time. Feel into the feet. So again, the back leg engaging from the foot, moving that tone resistance up through the leg. We can let the hips sink forward. Lightly, left hand, fingertips, slide it further. Whole hand comes down. Crease of the elbow lines up with your thumb, so that opens the inner shoulder. We want that. We want the shoulder in a healthy position to bear weight. And breathe, and breathe. Breathe. Front of the body turns a little to the sky. Make sure your bottom shoulder doesn't collapse forward. Keep the throat open. Take the top arm up. You don't have to look up initially. Turn the palm forward. Extend the arm. Stretch it out so it's actively lengthening. Maybe you can look up at the hand if that feels accessible. Breathe into what you're meeting. Breathe 3. Breathe 2. Breathe 1. Okay, we did the back knee as well, so you might do that if you feel like it. Lift the back knee. Perfect. Lower the back knee, lower the top hand, pause. Back foot lifts, hand stretches back. Again, doesn't matter whether they connect or not. If you're holding, see can you hold right over the toes. Breathe into what you're meeting, push the foot back against the hand if you're holding. Heart lengthening forward, front of the body turning toward the front leg. Breathe into the back ribs, breathe into the shoulder blades. Front of the throat open, breathe 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Perfect. We're going to release. We're going to step back, stay on the hands and knees. Close the eyes again. Move a little here. Simple, simple, simple. So when we're overly connected to one aspect of our nature, and all of us again tend to be, this idea of the front of the body overworking, a lot of our attention and awareness spent in the relative experience, again, the story of our lives, the doing of our lives, the movement of our lives. And we don't get the time, or we don't take the time to drop into the unseen, the stillness, the back of our body. The result tends to be a contraction, a tightness, a kind of a shutting down of parts of ourself. So the good news is there's all of this potential, all of this possibility that's waiting for us to experience it. What happens to my awareness when I access more of what's waiting to be accessed? How do I see myself? How do I feel about life? How do I move through the world? all of that is fluid and shifting and changing all the time. So may our practice be a way of opening to what's been hidden, those hidden resources, that deeper knowing. Perfect. Couple more breaths here, just stay fluid, stay simple. Great, okay. Let's come up onto the hands. Let's take the left foot forward. And then let's lift up and we're going to come up to stand. Okay, beautiful. We're going to take a wide stance. You let the toes turn out a little. Wide stance. Spread the toes. Even have a little movement of the toes. As you grip with the toes, hover the heels a little. You can see I have a little bend of the knees. Okay, stretch the legs straight. Let the heels come down. Take the hands to the base of the buttocks. Base of the glutes. So the top of the hamstring, base of the glutes. I want you to press your bum back like you're trying to sit back into the hands. And as the knees bend, let the knees move toward the ankles. So the knees are moving wide. And you can feel the glutes are firing, back of the thighs are firing. Toes are gripping. Weight as much in the front of the feet as you can do that. Some of you could even hover the heels again just off the floor. Okay, hold the ribs. Big expanding, lifting breath, like you're lifting the ribs away from the hips. Take the hands together so the fingertips are touching, almost like you're holding a ball between the hands, so they're touching lightly. And then there's a big space between the arms, like the elbows are pulling apart. And as you breathe, breathe into the armpits, like there were balloons there. Throat open, gazes forward. So we'll be here for about an hour. No, we won't, obviously. Little pulsing, you see I pulse a little and it kind of distributes the weight and work, activates muscles, supports me. And breathe into what you're meeting. Just for 5. As you grip with the toes, pull the feet toward each other. Breathe for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. And then come all the way up and relax. Take a few moments. Even here, close the eyes, let the arms hang. Go close to the breath. Okay, we open. So the hips are such an important part of our capacity to feel a sense of safety in our bodies. It's how the body creates this quality of safety that then feeds into this idea or this feeling of I'm safe, I'm okay. And a lot of us, and again it's particularly a Western phenomenon, are shut down in the pelvis. We're shut down because of maybe the way in which we inhabit the pelvis, we move the pelvis. And a lot of that may stem from taboos around the pelvis or religious ideas around this part of the body or, all of that kind of shut down, closed heaviness that we carry. So we want to open this space up. We want to create movement, flows of energy. And even in terms then of what happens biologically, all of that begins to improve. Reproductive stuff, elimination stuff, all of that begins to improve when these spaces open up. Okay. Toes are working, same position with the legs, hands to the base of the glutes, sit the bum back, knees are going wide as you do that. Don't let the knees collapse in. Knees are going wide. That helps the arches stay active. As the toes grip, you'll feel the arches are active. Okay, we're going to keep this general form, glutes are back. We're going to bring everything over to the right leg or the left leg. Either leg, doesn't matter. Yeah. Now the weight is forward in the foot, the toes stay active. You're lightly on the leg, you're not dumping down into it. And then you push down through that left foot to float you over to the other side. Yeah. Perfect. Keep going. Slow and steady. If you really feel the muscle, the whole leg working, not just the front, not just the side, back, all of it working as one piece, as one team. This is what we're creating more of through this type of movement and alignment that we're working with. Everything works as a team, everything participates, everything becomes more accessed. Stay with it. Breathe. Pushing down. Front of the feet, toes, doing all the work. Heels stay light through the whole thing. Any of you with knee issues, this is a great way of working them, and you can go just a little shallower if you find that something is sore. And if you feel okay, go a little deeper. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Come up, walk the 2 feet in. Great. Okay. Okay. Feet are hip distance. They're parallel. Spread the toes. Now, as you spread the toes, initially just move them and look at them. We're trying to wake up all these different parts of the body and kind of remaster all these different parts of the body, so they can then support us and do the job they're meant to do in terms of being part of the bigger movement or work of the body. So the places that we don't go to often are the places we go to in our practice to build connection, awareness, dexterity, mobility. Now, as you spread the toes, there's a gripping action, very simple, heels up a little and lower, super slow. So the heels come down like a feather and push up. And you'll feel the feet will get tired, the arches will get tired, the muscles that we're not used to working are activating. So you need a break, you take a break, but this is how the feet come home. This is how they do their job, how they remember what they're designed to do. Bones are spread, connective tissue engaging, a reawakening. You'll feel the work up not only through the feet, but working up through the legs, the calves, ankles, shins. This supports and engages the tissue around the knees, so the knees have more support. One of the big problems as we get older is, of course, the tissue that supports the joints has forgotten how to do its job, and then the joints are doing much more than they should be doing. A few more of these. Perfect. Okay. So, very simple. Feet are hip distance and parallel. I'm going to take my hands to the glutes again. I'm going to sit the bum back slowly. So base of the glutes, sitting the bum back now. Again, weight is forward in the feet, even as I take the hips back. Weight is forward, weight is forward. Notice if your top body drops quicker than your hips move, and it'll tend to do that for most of us. When you feel, okay, glutes are active, back of the legs, they're engaging. Everything's there. Perfect. Take the hands to the ribs. Okay. You're holding the ribs, thumbs at the back, fingers forward. First thing I'd like you to do is bring the gaze downward. Do you notice how your back ribs are broadening or swelling? I want you to keep that fullness as you lift the gaze forward again. Lift the sternum, belly lengthening. So you're really pushing the back ribs into your thumbs. Now, as you feel the ribs, lift them away from the hips again. Like you're manually opening up that mid-region of the body. Now, very simple here. Right leg goes back about a foot. Hips are staying back. You're trying to keep the position of the legs, and then just push off the back foot, spring it forward. Second side, just taking the foot back a little, not too far, so the hips can stay back. So you're sticking your bum out, and then spring it forward. If you're not sure, have a look at what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep the fullness in the ribs, the buoyancy. The gaze stays forward as much as I can. Just stepping one leg back. Again, it's the front of the foot, the toes doing all the work. Hips stay back, so the glutes are staying active through the whole transitioning. Back of the legs staying active through the whole movement. And again, encouraging this integrated movement. Stay with it. Okay, next time the left leg goes back, pause, keep the ribs full, take the hands to the glutes again, push the bum back into the hands as you lower the back knee down, Take the two legs back, take the hips back, bring the hands down, hands and knees. Breathe. Very simple. All of that work that we'll be doing, just encouraging the body to come home in terms of alignment, in terms of the quality of tone through the tissue. Balance, balance, balance. Lower back relaxed, ribs full, belly long, throat open, gaze slightly forward along the earth. Now let's, very simple, bring the two legs over to the left. Lower the hips down to the right. Come down onto the right shoulder. Come all the way over onto your back. Keep the two knees bent. Release the arms. Close the eyes. Soles of the feet together. Two knees drop wide. If this doesn't work for you, if it's sore, please don't do it. Just keep the knees bent. Little space between the arms and the torso. Could you just very gently just kind of lift and shrug one shoulder toward the ear and then the other? You're just trying to decompress the spine. It's like all of this potential in terms of space in the body. And when we have more space, things move more easily, feel more comfortable. We all get used to contraction as the norm, being in a contracted state, until we experience the space that is available. We start to play with it, access it, feel it, know it. And then something in us wants more of it. And ultimately this is what feeds our practice. To feel more freedom, more ease. Let everything begin to sink and melt. Notice your breath. If you can, breathe through the nose, inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. Slow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the whole breath, inhale, exhale, is like one movement. There's no gap or pause or just slow, steady, uniformed and fluid. Soften your face, relax your jaw. Let your tongue rest in your mouth. Stay with this breath. Listen to the breath. Create uniformity, evenness. So without changing the breath, just slowly stretch one leg out. And then the other leg. So the 2 feet are going to be wider than the hips. Stay with the breath. Let your breath come back to its natural rhythm. Let your body be so heavy on the earth. So the earth is holding you, and then you get to melt into the earth. Bring your attention back to your breath. Begin to take some deeper breaths. Move fingers, move toes. Deep, deep breaths. Stretch the arms over the head. Stretch the fingers and toes away from each other. Take your time. Bring the arms back. We'll bend one knee at a time. And then we'll just begin to roll over to the side, whichever side feels comfortable. Use the hand of the arm as a pillow. Get as comfortable as you can. And then come back to your breath again. Soften. Just notice the breath. And if you can keep the eyes closed, do that. If not, that's fine too. And we're going to transition back to sitting. So our eyes are closed, our attention resting at the entrance to the nose, belly relaxed, legs, hips heavy on the floor or whatever we're sitting on. As we did in the beginning, just comfortably taking some deeper breaths. Maybe a little shrug through the shoulders just to see, could I get a little longer, fuller, without forcing, without straining. Belly stays relaxed, jaw relaxed. The idea of softening onto the fullness. So as the inner form becomes spacious, becomes brighter, the outer form can soften. And then just notice how you're doing. You bring the hands again in front of the heart. So the invitation of our practice to, in a sense, come home to that deeper experience of ourselves. That aspect of ourselves that is so often hidden or covered or protected, requires a deeper sense of safety or trust to, in a sense, unfold ourselves. And the reward is that deeper sense of connectedness or worthiness, even to go so far as to say joy. That each of us has a well of joy within us. And we ask that our practice be a way in which we may drink from that well. May our practice bring us home. May it remind us. And take our hands just to touch the forehead. And then the lips. And then back to that space of the heart. And then to ourselves and to each other, we bow again, bowing the chin to the chest, the head to the heart. Namaste. Good work, well done. So the practice is available or will be available on YouTube, of course, to do as all the previous practices are. They go live on Wednesdays and Sundays. We have a month of meditation coming up for November, and you can sign up for that at michaelryanyoga.com. You can also pay for this class, or you can do a subscription for all the classes if you wish as well, and that's all available on my website too. Or get in touch if you want to find out something else. The month of meditations in November is a daily practice, and that's really the beauty of it, is that we practice continuously each day. Now they're simple practices, they're short practices, but they begin to really support that part of us that needs to and is able to begin to drop in and slow down and meet that deeper space within ourselves and experience how that shifts our experience of ourselves and the world. And it does do that. That's what it does. It brings us into access into these deeper places of integrity within ourselves. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I would be really grateful if you do that. That would really help me. And I wish you the very best. All right. Hope you have a good day. Blessings.